All right, guys, I've got some new parts and I've got some ideas that I want to try to figure out on the steering rack, try to get the alignment where it needs to be. I know the last issue I told you about with the new steering coupler, it kind of was reversed. So where it bolts onto the rack itself was the other direction. So trying to figure out a way how I can correct that, and I think I might have an idea. So I'm gonna pull the rack, get some parts swapped over, and see if I can't remedy that. So follow along and let's get started. All right, so I actually removed the inner tie rod from the passenger side, and something that I noticed, which is amazing, honestly I thought this shared the same pitch as the STI, but it's not. So I ordered some new inner tie rods for the 2010 WRX, which on here, I don't know if you can see this. You can physically see that they're shorter by about maybe an inch. And it's the same inner pitch. So the narrow body inner tie rod will bolt right up to the steering rack. And get that threaded in. Just fine. So I'm gonna swap out the other one. I'm gonna get the little washer in here that's meant to clamp over the edge. Get that in there first, get these torqued down. And then for the steering shaft, I actually noticed that you can take this plastic piece up. Try to do this easy. You can move this to the other side. So I think that's gonna alleviate our alignment issue, get everything back to being centered, and that way we can do the proper alignment and get this where it needs to be. So super excited about that. Let's go ahead and get these inner tie rods swapped out. Get this moved over to the other side so that way we can get that linkage mounted properly to that. All right, so I got both of the inner tie rods swapped out. I've got the boots back on and fastened. I've got the crimp washers installed and crimped down. And then I did recenter the rack. Welcome back, guys. Today is Saturday, a little after 7 o'clock in the morning, trying to get an early start to avoid the heat. It's close to already 80 degrees. So let's kick back where we left off. Last time, just give you a quick overview. Last time we got the inner tie rods all mounted in. I've got the steering rack back in. I've got the outer tie rods all hooked up. And you can see this is pointing inwards, which is great. That means we have enough movement to get that aligned. Same thing on this side. I got the inner tie rod in. I did replace this one with a new one since I cut that last video. So this is back to normal, and you can see that this is pretty much aligned also. So got more than enough adjustment to get that where it needs to be. Right now I've got some jack stands underneath the control arms. I'm going to lower this down and get this to basically ride height, so that way I can tighten up all these bolts. Do one last bolt check on the front so I can get the wheels on, and then move on to a new exciting project for this car. Stay tuned. All right. Put some jacks underneath the sides also, just for protection. Just basically going through all these nuts and bolts, make sure they're all torqued. I don't want anything potentially loose on accident. I think my battery's starting to die. Okay, so those are good. Okay. So I tighten these, tighten these, tighten these, I tighten this. Let's go ahead and tighten the lower control arm. Okay. And the back one. Torqued. Okay. All right. So we get the back, we get the front, sway bar end links, tie rod ends. We've got the knuckle control arm or knuckle coilover bolts. This one's already been torqued because it's pinned. I think this side is good to go. Let's just torque these just to make sure. Those are T8 70 foot-pounds. Look like a 17. And they are. Alright, those are good. So this side is all torqued. I want to do one more on the brake line just to make sure that it's not going to leak. Caliper bolts is 114.3. Don't know if I can get to it underneath here. We'll give it a shot. Yep. What am I at? 90. Is that right? T3. It's 114, yeah. Okay. There we go. Those are good. And then the banjo bolt is only 13 foot-pounds. Enough. I think everything on this side is good except for the axle nut. I don't think I can torque that yet until it's on the ground and the wheels are on. So let's move on to the other side and we'll get this wrapped up. So let's fix that. Fine. Oh. Enough. Good enough. We're within a half a turn of each other, so we'll call that good. All right, so while I have the wheel off, I just threw this fender liner back in. I do have some Rally Armor mud flaps I'm gonna install as well, so I'll just take you along that real quick. Shouldn't take too long. That's it. These clips back in. Get the other side wrapped up and then we'll get the wheels on. Alright guys, so sorry for the dim lighting. I am working in the garage with the door closed today just to try to keep the heat outside. I think the last time I looked it was like 109 degrees out, so it's unbearable. Trying to get as much work as I can done in this garage that's not AC'd. Hopefully I can address that in the future. But I did make some progress. Something that I learned is this clock spring and steering angle sensor is independent of the actual shaft. So if I would have known that, I could have alleviated a lot of the issues ahead of time, but we're here now and we learned it. So basically what that means is the shaft can rotate as many times as it needs to, left or right, as long as the steering wheel is disconnected so the clock spring does not turn with it. So I went ahead, the steering rack itself is centered, so all I did was hook up the linkage between the steering rack and the shaft, and now I'm just going to reclock this clock spring so we can get the steering wheel centered because the rack is already centered. So if you don't know, the instructions are on the actual clock spring itself. It may be hard to read with the camera, but let me see if I can get a little bit in there. I don't know if you can see that. But basically, all we gotta do is rotate it this counterclockwise, or I'm sorry, clockwise until the end, and then go counterclockwise 3 1/4 turns. So let's go ahead and go clockwise until it stops. Remember, you want to do this as delicate as possible, and that's it. That's the stop. So you see how it's at pretty much 3 o'clock right here. We want to go 3 turns and 1/4. So that's 1, that's 2, 3 1/4. So now it's at the top. This is centered, steering rack is centered. Let's go ahead and get the steering wheel on and we should be golden. Alright, so we're going to leave the day off with pretty much what we got done. The front suspension is all tightened up, bolt checked. I've got the steering pretty much all buttoned up. I've got the inner tie rods, outer tie rods, and the steering linkage pretty much all tight and installed. You see it down there. I've got the VA STI linkage. I've got the rally armor, urethane, what are these called? Mud flaps installed, and I've got the wheels on. You can kind of see the alignment isn't perfect. I will get that back to where it needs to be later on, but pretty much got the whole front of the car down on its wheels, which is nice, and I've got the fender liners all installed. So stay tuned. I'm going to pick up the work tomorrow morning when it starts to get cool again. I think right now it's probably over 90 degrees. So I'm going to call it quits for today. Tomorrow I'm going to have that surprise for you. Hopefully that'll go smooth, but stay tuned. On the display, EMtron really hooked us up on this one. We were originally going to get the ED7, not even the M version, just a traditional ED7, but we got the ED10M. M is the motorsports version, so it does use motorsports connectors. It's got the USB-C port there. This is going to fit beautifully in that bezel. This thing is humongous. This is a 10-incher. It's got the LEDs up here that you could program for shift lights. I'm super excited about this. Let's go ahead and start modifying the Subaru. See what we need to do to get these fit. Shout out again to EMtron. Thanks for hooking us up. Look at this beauty. This is the adapter bezel for the EMtron display that I'll be using in the car. It is created by Racing Display, and this is technically 3D printed, but it literally looks like it's injection molded. Like it's super thick, very nice quality. The finish looks amazing on it. This is going to look really sweet in the car. Super excited to get this installed. So because of the size of the display, the tops, you'll notice that there's some holes here. This is just for the little corners to kind of poke out of. So there will need to be a little bit of clearancing done on the car, but not much, and it can all be hidden so it'll look like it belongs. Super excited to get this installed. This is kind of... Let me get my Dremel. This is too big. Not sure if my father's watching this or will be watching this, but this... Okay. Same thing on this side. All right. I guess I could probably just cut that whole thing off, huh? Don't worry, I will clean this all up. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, let's do it. There we go. Now we'll sand it up, call it a day. Aww. Right? Go. That looks good. Okay. Okay. I think that'll do just fine. Need my vacuum and vacuum all this up. Battery died as I was kind of cutting this up, finishing it off. We got all the edges cut that I needed. A little thing there. Got the side kind of messed up here, but you're not going to see any of this. Deburred the edges and then cleaned everything up, so we should be good for final fitment. Let me go ahead and throw this in there and we'll see what we're looking at. Look at that. That is amazing. Everything fits perfectly. These little edges are the ones that I had to clearance just a little bit, but again, that's all gonna be hidden. That's in there and it looks great. Dude, look at this display. It just fits perfectly. I can't believe this. Racing display really hooked us up. This bezel looks amazing. That and the EMtron, this 10-inch, like seriously, it fills in the dash perfect. I can't wait to get this wired up, turn it on, and see what it looks like. I think this is going to look sweet. Alright guys, well that's what I've got for this week. Super excited and happy to have this dash display installed. Shout out to both EMtron and Racing Display. Honestly, this bezel fits perfect. So got a lot of work done this week. We've got the inner tie rod swapped out for the narrow body, so that way the fitment of the steering rack is perfect. So we've got the VA steering coupler installed, got the steering wheel all straightened. Still got to finalize the alignment on the front, pretty much actually all four wheels, but that'll come in the future. I got the wiring on the EMtron ECU all knocked out, had to move a few pins, got that straightened out. I just got to get this wired up so we can turn it on and see what it looks like. Appreciate you guys joining us again this week. As always, please make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.